I'm Kelly Mitchell, and you're listening to Breve TV, episode 77, The Skinny on Turning Passion to Reality, How a Dream Became a Company. I'm Kelly Mitchell, as I mentioned earlier, the creator of Breve TV, and this is Breve TV Uncorked. Women on wine, business, and evolution, sharing rich conversation to enlighten, challenge, and inspire the busiest people on earth. Joining me is my co-host of Breve TV, Deborah Trapin. Welcome to the show, Deborah.
Thanks so much for having me, Kel. Always love to be here with you.
Hey, it's a pleasure, and this is our kickoff edition, so I'm super excited to have us back in the studio recording. Tonight, we're talking about how to turn a dream into a reality and passion into a company. Skinny addictions, making dreams come true by following your passion. We've all said it. Gosh, I have this great idea. If only I could find the time. I have this vision to do something different, something I really love. I think the reality is, if we only truly understood how achievable our dreams really were, how many more of us there would be reaching for them. It takes gumption, bravery, and a little bit of crazy to enter the world of entrepreneurs and boldly live your passions where no others have gone before. Now, today we're talking to Sherie Stevens. She's a former fitness trainer who founded Skinny Addictions, a cookie company driven to create a healthier alternative to sugary sweets. Welcome to the show, Sherie.
Hello, Kelly. Hello, Deborah. Thank you so much for inviting me. It is such a pleasure to be here.
It's wonderful to have you here. Now,
Thank you.
before we jump into what's in our glasses today, we begin with a quote. Don't be afraid of your fears. They're not there to scare you. They're there to let you know that something is worth it. And that's by C. Joy Bell C. So, and now I'd love to find out what's in our glasses today. Deborah, let's start with you.
All right. Well, first and foremost, I have to show you my beautiful new glass. Isn't she adorable? I got her.
Oh my God.
Right?
You.
Isn't she look like me? It's from one of my clients, so shout out to Nicole. Thank you so much. I love her. And what's inside this little red head is a red called, okay, Kelly, you're going to love this, Temptress.
Oh, Dolly. Perfect.
It's
So perfect.
Based by Page, which is a local Washington winery. It is a proprietary red, so I have no idea what's inside of it, but I can tell you it's a delicious.
Oh my goodness, fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Temptress. I love it. And you know, they're coming up with so many blends these days and so many different mixes, and it's really, you know, before it used to be all about being purist, right? I mean, you had to have all Cabernet Sauvignon grapes, or you had to have all Cab Franc, which is almost impossible in California. And now it's just about getting the absolute most fabulous taste and flavor you can. So I love that. Who cares what's in it? If it tastes good, that's all that matters.
Amen, sister.
Okay, and on that note, I'm sipping irony today. The irony of this is actually a Russian River Valley Pinot Noir. These guys are third-generation winemakers, okay? It's two brothers. You know, I think they thought that they were going to be out of the wine business, and they found themselves, like, going back to their roots, literally. So we're welcoming Irony onto the show, and this is a fabulous Pinot, very smooth, goes with almost anything you can imagine, as most Pinots do, and I absolutely love it. So cheers. And our word of the show today is skinny. What does that mean, ladies?
You must say.
Every time you hear the word skinny, what must you do?
Drink.
Drink. You have to have a sip of what's in your glass. Sherie, what's in your glass today? Or what do you wish was in your glass today?
Funny story. Cheers. I am taking a break from wine for the moment. I had an allergic reaction on Christmas Day as we were about to host a group of guests in our home. My husband Brian and I prepared the meal in the morning, got platters together, fruit platters, um, cheese and crackers, the whole works, put the food into the oven, and I noticed that I was starting to break out in a rash. It ended up being hives that lasted for 4 days. So I'm not really
Oh,
sure at
Lord.
this point whether it was the wine, whether it was the strawberries or blackberries, so I'm on a hiatus with the wine right now. But that being said, I do have I do have a wine to show you. And this is Genesee. It is a dessert wine. It is a black muscat. Not
We don't allow any
muskrat. That would
muskrats.
not be
No
tasty
muskrats
or sweet.
on the show. No, no muskrats.
Trust me, I have not had any yet. I can't even pronounce. Anyway, it is a semi-sweet wine, and it goes beautifully with cookies, which is what
Oh,
what we do here at Skinny Addictions.
Love it.
So
Beautiful.
yes,
absolutely.
so
That is awesome.
try this. It's comes highly recommended, and it is made here in California as well. So
Fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing that and for sharing your story because not always fun to have allergic reactions, in particular if they're ever blamed on wine. So hopefully we'll get the wine out of the mix and find out it was blueberries or something like
we're
that.
gonna we're gonna make we're gonna make an attempt to find out and just
Fantastic. Well, we're
anyway.
super
So
excited to dig into your journey and cheers because now we're
cheers.
going to get the skinny on skinny addictions. Okay, cheers, ladies.
Wonderful.
Mm.
I'm drinking coconut water, by the way.
Oh, yummy, yummy.
Delicious.
Okay, so your background is in the fitness arena, and you are one of how many people are trainers in the U.S. today?
Good
Million?
question.
There's a lot.
There are a lot, and particularly here in Los Angeles, even more so. I think the concentration of trainers are in California and they are in Florida, where I lived about 5 or 6 years ago as well. And I've been a trainer for about 13 years, and in both Fort Lauderdale and transitioned from there here to California.
And
So
so,
it's a very big market, especially this time of year, January, New Year's resolutions. Everyone is wanting to not only exercise and get back into fitness and reach towards those goals, but they also want to know how to eat better and what to
well, we've
choose.
also got the redemption of the holidays that we have to contend with as well, right? So people are like in a panic because they were going to just eat through Christmas, and now all of a sudden they've got, if they're anything like me, an extra layer, pound cake layer, and we want that to evaporate. So, okay, so you're in the fitness industry.
It
You
doesn't
are
just
often,
evaporate.
yeah, I wish it would evaporate. I need a zapper. You're in the fitness industry. You are training people, making them successful. When did you hit a wall? When did you say, is that all there is? Or when did you say, there's got to be something else? Or I want to try something different? When did that happen? What was the catalyst of that moment?
I think it really, for me, it goes back to when I was a very young girl. And I've always had an affinity for baking. I can remember the first cookbook. It was called the Happy Pixies cookbook. And I don't remember, I was probably 9 or 10 when my mom gave me that cookbook. And I loved it. And ever since then, it has been something that I go to. I think baking for a lot of us is therapeutic. We go to it whether we're happy, we're sad, and for me, it allows me to be creative and I just love to do it. So it started way back then, but it really didn't take off until I was in Florida. I was in my training career as a trainer, And I stepped into the competitive world, and from there, that type of environment that you live in as a competitor for me, it was about 4 years that I did that.
Wow.
It became a lifestyle, whereas I wanted to find, not only for myself, but for my clients, a way to have something tasty that was also considered clean in the bodybuilding world. And that meant low sugar, um, you know, healthy fats, good ingredients, so that our bodies thrived on that, and we were able to still keep our body fat low, but we're able to indulge in something that we really missed out on. So I was always creating at that time snacks and sweets. From there, I left Fort Lauderdale. I ended up in Oklahoma for a few years.
I'm sorry about
And
that. No, I'm kidding.
oh, well,
I
Oklahoma was a very different.
I had a stint in Kansas City, and I definitely think if you're coming from the coasts, that can be a shocking thing to the system and to the brain.
It can be. Coming from Fort Lauderdale to Oklahoma was a very different experience. But it enabled me to take my personal training business, of which I was my own businesswoman. Um, I had my own business there. I transitioned it, started it up again in Oklahoma City, was training clients from a private training studio, and loved doing that, and still continued to create and go to baking as my I don't even want to call it therapy, because that makes it sound as if I needed it.
No, but it's
But
your passion. This is your
it
passion we're
it
talking
was
about here.
that's a great way to put it. It was a passion of mine and something that I love to do.
Excellent.
So my
Let's
husband,
get. I want to get Deborah in because I don't want to let the whole story out because there's just so many pieces of this, and you have done
I'm
so
just
much.
fascinated.
Oh my God, I know. I'm like she competing for 4 years. Do you know how hard that is? Okay,
it,
Deborah, question,
it,
please.
So my question is, when we have entrepreneurs who have opened their own business, there's always that one person who really just kind of was there to support you. So who was that person for you that was like, you go, Sherie, you go, and how did you find them? Were you married to this person? Was it a best friend? Kind of give us the skinny on that.
Oh yeah, cheers to
oh
that.
yeah, cheers. That is without a doubt, to answer your question, Deborah, my husband Brian. He is the most incredible, supportive. I just am the luckiest woman in the world to have this man as my husband of 1 year. We got married a year ago. Um, our story began in Oklahoma. Brian is from there, but he was back visiting with his sister when we met. And he was there for a short period of time. Fate took its course. Brian and I met, and we moved back here to Los Angeles, which is where he has lived for the last almost 30 years.
So now you
So,
know why you went to Oklahoma.
absolutely. I mean, a lot of people ask me that question: why would you leave Fort Lauderdale to go to Oklahoma? And when you look back on the things that happen in your life, and you see how your life has been maneuvered to set you up into certain situations so that you meet the people that you need to meet to forward yourself in your life, I would move to Oklahoma a million times if it meant every single time that I met Brian.
Oh,
Um,
That's
so
so awesome.
I love it.
yeah.
I love love. What a great love story.
Well,
Thank you.
he was very instrumental in the business as well. And when we moved here, I was in the position to recreate and rebuild my personal training business again, which would be the third time. And in that time, as I'm trying to find my place in Los Angeles as a fitness person, because every other shop on the street is a gym or personal training or Pilates or yoga. There's so much here in that world. So as I'm trying to find my place, I had a little bit of time. I read a book called The Alchemist. I'm not sure if either of you have ever read that, but Paulo Coelho, do you
It's
have it?
I have it. It was a gift to me, and when I saw your inspiration, I actually just went through a move myself, and so mass chaos ensued. But that is a book that's on my list to dig into, and you've inspired me to jump in a little bit sooner.
Kelly, I encourage you. It's one of the most life-changing books for me. It was given to me by a client in Oklahoma, and I, like you, said thank you, and I set it aside. And when I came here to California, I had some time to just sit down and read that book, and it changed my life. It really did.
Wow.
The book is about finding your true personal legend, is the way Paulo Coelho describes it. And it really allows you to open your mind and think about what it is that you're doing and what it is that you should be doing. And for me, when I started getting back into the creative mode and making one particular cookie again and revising it and tweaking it, Brian would sit down on this couch with the container of cookies and eat the entire container. And he started.
It's such a guy, right? He's such a guy.
He's such a guy, but fantastic guy. But the thing about it is that it started Skinny Addictions. Take a drink.
Cheers.
Ooh, cheers.
Is that he named the cookie his crack ball.
I love it.
Hilarious.
Because of the way that he literally could not keep his hand out of the cookie jar. It was almost as if he was so addicted to these cookies he could not stop eating them. So that transitioned into the name Skinny Addictions. That's where that came from. So,
And so from this,
addiction.
I know, skinny, skinny, skinny. Ooh,
Oh, you
get back on it,
That
girlfriend.
was free.
I just took a
That's
triple sip, so I'm
fantastic
good.
story.
Okay, so here we have the husband who's got his crack bowl. He's wiped out an entire bowl of cookies. Obviously, there's something good and happening in these cookies. I really feel like we have to talk about the health issue because
Yes.
the deal with sweets, the deal with what goes into baking, is really there's a lot of unhealthy stuff that happens in the baking space. You've got bleach in your flour, bleach in your sugar. You've got fats that are horrible for you. Like, how did you formulate such a delicious cookie and embrace the things that we can have in cookies and be healthy and safe? How did you do that?
I think it really, for me, has become, because of my background in fitness and nutrition, it has enabled me to stay on the cutting edge of what is current, what is being used, what is new that that we're able to use to produce something that tastes good without using the artificial ingredients that have been so much a part of our lives in the past. With the artificial sugars, the high fructose corn syrups, there is a better way to create something delicious, and it may require that you spend just a little bit more on ingredients for better quality, but it is far superior to a cookie that is just laden with sugar.
So let's talk about that for a quick second, and then I
Sure.
want Deborah to roll right into her question because I don't want to monopolize this. Um, I'd love for you to tell me as somebody who wants to bake and hates to bake. No, I don't hate to bake, but I want to bake and I just haven't. Um, what I should go into my pantry with and replace. Give me like the top 5 ingredients. Use this instead of this. I'd love to hear that from people who want to make their own.
Okay. Number one, throw out anything that is predominantly sugar. Sugar for us is the enemy. It's not fat. Sugar is what's causing diabetes, high blood pressure. It has a plethora of diseases that it contributes to. So let's first remove the sugar, and in its place, let's put stevia, which is a plant-based sweetener, which is 0 calorie.
Excellent.
It is very popular right now. I'm also very much into an ingredient called coconut nectar. And coconut nectar is very much on the cutting edge right now. It hasn't quite jumped into a mainstream environment, but it's ready to. And it's very hard to find, but I found it and I started using it, and it is amazing. Coconut nectar is the consistency of either honey or like a honey maple syrup mixture. It's a syrup, basically. And when you involve it, for a cookie that requires honey or agave
A,
or,
a skinny cookie, right?
well,
She can't help herself.
You have to keep the show going. Okay, so we have our coconut
okay.
nectar. Where did you find this stuff?
Coconut nectar I found at a local store. Um, uh, can I say the name?
Okay.
It doesn't matter. A local health food store. It's
Okay.
been very limited supply. It's very hard to find. But I found it because I wanted to replace honey and agave in a particular recipe because of their sugary effect on the body. And coconut nectar is a very low glycemic sweetener that diabetics can use, people that want to really limit their sugars. So put that in your pantry. Combine them together, which is how I sweeten the cookie. A combination of the two, the stevia and the coconut nectar. Also, let's take out any saturated fats that are animal-based. Let's limit it to olive oil, a little bit of butter maybe. But the Skinny Addiction cookie has an ingredient which we're all familiar with, which is coconut oil. And coconut oil is very much in the mainstream right now, and it is one of the superfoods that has so many benefits, from creating lower blood or lower cholesterol, to providing that satiety, that
That thing we all need to be skinny.
edit that out.
Deborah, I'm going to have you ask the next question after you take your sip.
So, okay, we've all grown up. All three of us are grown women. So we've been through the fads, the no sugar this, the fat-free that, the gajillion. Since like 1980, it seems like there's always something new, right?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me how you market what it is that you do that lets people know, like, this isn't the fad. This is real. This is a lifestyle change. You can still have a cookie, and it's good for you. Like, what are the crazy things you do to get people to believe it?
Well, first of all, they need to taste the cookie, because if it doesn't taste good, it doesn't matter how healthy it is. Nobody will want to continue to eat it. So first of all, it has to taste good. Being able to market something like this has first started with an online website, e-commerce site, and trying to educate the consumer through social media has been effective as well. But I find being that Skinny Addictions is still forwarding ahead in the marketplace.
That's my favorite part, the little sips.
Here's the thing that like, I'm equating it to is like I learned in June of last year that I was gluten intolerant. I don't have celiacs or I don't explode. It doesn't make me feel good and it actually makes me break out in hives. And but I'm telling you, like half the gluten-free food is disgusting, and half of it is fantastic. And it's like you never know what to believe. And so. I love that you're using social media. Do you have like a sample program, or like how do people taste it if they don't live in LA?
If they don't live in LA, the Skinny Addictions is a growing company. We are a startup that is really wanting to get our product out there into the hands of consumers so that they can taste it. So we are going to trade shows. We are doing, there's a trade show coming up here in LA very soon that we'll be a part of. And I've gotten so much great feedback because it is something that everybody wants but does not have the ability to find. So we are marketing to major retailers to get the product in. That's how we're marketing at this point.
What have been some of the biggest challenges that you've had? I mean, it's one thing to create a product and a good product, and a lot of people, I mean, there's stories of thousands, probably tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who've created great products. But the challenge always seems to be getting it mainstream. What have been some of the biggest challenges that you've run into in this process?
The biggest challenges that I have found and up until now have been the laws in California require that we, depending on where we manufacture our product, there are certain guidelines that we have to follow. For me, I am what is called a cottage food producer. And what that means under California law is that I produce in my own facility, my own kitchen. And it requires specific type of marketing, specific types of product labeling. And that has created a little bit of a certain retailers do not want. I don't want to put a negative spin on this. Edit.
We love it.
My biggest challenges now is, as any startup corporation struggles with, is how to grow. How to grow. Growth has to be probably the biggest issue now. How to continue to market, how to get into a large retailer and produce, and I'm so sorry.
No, are you going to be on Shark Tank soon?
Oh my God, Kelly, that's exactly what I was going to ask her.
Where's Barbara Corcoran when we need her? Like, seriously, she should be right here finding us a kitchen.
Right. Or Lori. Lori could really do something with this too.
Oh my God, Lori would love this. Lori is skinny beautiful, isn't she? Cheers to Lori and her skinny beautiful self.
Well, and hopefully we're going to see Barbara Corcoran in New York City at the end of where we are right now. So that would be awesome. We'll put in a good word.
Send us a package. We'll take it with us and put it in front of Barbara.
Absolutely. And it's funny that you just said that. As I was sitting here waiting to get online with you, my husband just tweeted her right before we connected with our interview here. But he had just sent her a tweet.
We'll have to tell him he needs to tweet her again because now she's been mentioned on Breve TV.
We'll retweet him. We'll retweet him and we'll get the conversation started. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're in a
Okay.
position.
Question, Deborah.
Yes, I do have a question about motivation. So I love the background in training, obviously being focused on being a fit, what do they call it? Fit competition?
Skinny competition.
Well, stop it with the skinny. So you went through this period where you had absolute intense focus, and you were motivated based on the fact that if you ate something or you did something that was not good for your body, it affected your job. Which hello. How do you stay motivated now? I mean, hello, you're in the kitchen, so you're training and you're baking. Like, how do you stay motivated to forge forward on the cookie baking and keeping your body in shape? Like, how does that work? What keeps you motivated?
What keeps me motivated to stay lean?
Yes.
Stay skinny.
And skinny. Vixen.
When I was a competitor, it required a very deep motivation, and it was a tough environment because it required 24/7 absolute dedication, and you have to just set a course for your mind to just stay completely focused on what you're doing. You have to set a goal. You have to have something that you want to accomplish. And for me, I knew if I faltered in any way as a competitor with my diet, it was going to show on when I walked on the stage. And there was no reason to go through the training and the diet in order just to cheat to stand on the stage and not be in a position to win. So now, as someone who is not competing anymore, and that has stayed with me my whole life. I want to, even though I am not competitive anymore, I still want to stay fit. I still have clients that in personal training that view me as possibly a role model, and
I think you still have that competitive aspect of you. I don't think that that's dwindled a bit. It may change how you were articulating it and how you're experiencing it in your life, but I really do feel, and in particular, to be able to grow something like you have, to cross the U.S. and continue to keep your passion in the forefront, that definitely shows true competitive nature. That's very inspiring.
Well, thank you. It feels like I had the opportunity when I came here to Los Angeles to reinvent, and it was the perfect timing because as I was building a personal training base, I was also able to live out and pursue a personal passion of mine by taking what I know, which had I pursued this opportunity or this passion 10 years ago, I would not have learned what I have along the way. I also would not be using the ingredients that I'm using today, which are very coconut based with coconut oil, coconut nectar, coconut flour, and stevia. Those products did not exist. And I believe that the majority of people actually want to eat better.
Absolutely. Deborah, question.
So tell us, do you have a productivity secret? In other words, how do you've used the word focus, and we love to talk about focus because we love to talk about a million things, but we do need to focus. So what's your productivity secret? How do you focus?
how do I focus?
What is it? Is it a song? Is it a mantra? Like, what gets you just focused for your day?
Wow. I have to say, just knowing that the product that I believe in is one that everyone can benefit from, and everyone that has purchased the cookies, whether it be a friend, whether it be a consumer that I have not met yet, I've received nothing but feedback, and that really feeds my desire to keep going. And knowing that there is something that consumers can uh, enjoy with a Skinny Addictions cookie that they may not be able to get with a competitor's cookie. My cookies have very low sugar, and that's the selling point of the cookie. There are 6 different flavors, and each cookie has, on average, about 3 grams of sugar. Now
That's
that's
awesome.
less than a teaspoon. So a competitor's cookie has 16. So that
Wow.
there's a big difference there.
Wow.
Okay, Sherie, I have a question for you because we need to wrap now, and this has been amazing. What I'd love for you to do is either speak to yourself 5 years ago, or speak to the women that are sitting on the precipice of hoping that they're going to realize their dreams or passions, but might be too afraid to put themselves out there. What kind of advice do you have for them?
I would encourage women to look at what they are doing right in this moment. Where are they? Are they in a job that they're not happy with? Are they a housewife? Are they whatever she's doing? Um, dig deep down inside and figure out what your passion is. What is it that you love to do? I love training people, but I also love baking. I was able to find a way to take what I know in both worlds and create something that everyone can benefit from. And I would encourage women to not be fearful. Being fearful is like cement on your feet, and there's no growth in fear.
Excellent. Deborah, final question.
Wow.
I
So you
love that.
mentioned, I know, like, wow, that was so beautiful. So do you have a favorite blog that you think, as an entrepreneur, as a woman in business, that's really helped you? Like, what is one online resource that you can share with our audience that will just get them going?
Hmm. Deborah.
Ooh, is that a tough one?
That was a tough one. Um, hmm.
Or even a resource, if there's a mantra that speaks to you, anything that kind of, gives you that inspiration, that insight, and helps complete the package as far as what you're doing.
My husband, Brian, reminds me of something almost every single day, and that is a quote he said 2 things to me, and I'll share them with you. The first one was about Colonel Sanders, Kentucky Fried Chicken,
Which is not skinny.
which is not skinny at all. I probably need to talk to him,
Yes, you do.
although I think he has passed away.
Yes, but he
Um,
does have family.
okay. He told me, as I'm in this process of bringing skinny addictions to the world, he reminded me that Colonel Sanders, it took him 1,009 attempts to get his chicken recipe into a restaurant, and he finally did. So Brian reminds me of that, to keep going. And his favorite quote that he also reminds of me of on a daily basis is by Walt Disney, and it is, keep moving forward. And there are going to be obstacles along the way. Believe me, I have encountered all of them. And someone reminded me recently that obstacles are simply hurdles. Once you jump over it, it's gone. Keep going. There are
That's
going to be
so
more, and you've just got to keep jumping over them. And each time you jump, you learn something, and you grow. And this has been a growing experience for me, and just a blessing to be able to do this at this point in my life, and to just live a passion and see where it takes me.
I'm so excited for you. I know Deborah is as well, and we know that you're well on your way to massive success. And we'd love to say that once upon a time we knew you way back when. Thank you so much, Sherie, for being on the show and sharing your skinny addictions with us. Please thank Brian as well. I know he's a huge part of your efforts and your inspiration. And thank you for joining us. Will you come back and give us an update down the road?
Absolutely, I would love to.
We'd be
Maybe I can
delighted.
drink wine then.
Absolutely. We will wait until the day that you can have some wine with us. Okay, well, that's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much, Deborah Trapin, for, as always, faithfully joining me and helping share the inspiration and the wine. And thanks for listening to Breve TV Uncorked. To our fans, go bold, women on wine. Subscribe to brevetv.com so you won't miss the rich goodness of information for your entrepreneurial lifestyle. Remember, each and every Wednesday, we're celebrating these episodes in the stream. Just simply use the hashtag #BreveTV and follow the conversation each and every week, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're here for you. If you know a woman who's making inroads, who's doing amazing things that we should know about, please let us know by emailing caffeinatormedia@gmail.com. Until next time, I'm Kelly Mitchell for Deborah Trapin and Breve TV Uncorked, signing off. Take care. We always have giggles at the end.